All right. Good evening, and you are welcome to today's session of Power Session with Jumoke, and it's our 18th edition. Today we'll be discussing quality management and projects. So if you see me move this way, it's because I'm checking what is going on TikTok Live. Some people have joined. Yes. Today, the goal is for us to finish within 45 minutes. So please work with me. Today's topic is quality management and projects. And today's session outline is what you can see on the screen. I'm going to give some introduction to what quality management is. 2, we look at core processes of quality management. And if you asked me, that is the essence of this training or this session. And then number 3, we look at audits, inspections, and continuous improvement. Project management encourages continuous improvement. You should not settle. You got A today, tomorrow it should be A+, next A++. That's continuous improvement. And we are also going to look at quality and grade. What is quality? What is grade? And the differences. And we look at key distinctions between quality and grade, and then discuss briefly scatter diagram, and afterwards we'll answer some questions. We have 5 questions today. If you are on this live and you are certified and you are interested in having PDUs, I encourage that you scan this so that you can drop your name, your first name and last name, and your PMI ID, your Project Management Institute ID, so that we can assign the PDU for you. Today's learning objectives will be, at the end of this session, you will be able to distinguish between planned quality, managed quality, and control quality processes. 2, you will be able to explain the difference between quality assurance and quality control. 3, you will be able to identify the role of audits, inspections, and continuous improvements in projects. 4, you will be able to differentiate between quality and grade with some examples. 5, you would be able to interpret a diagram showing relationships between variables, and that is scatter diagram, from the word scatter. So let's go. Introduction. What is quality? Quality in projects shows the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills requirements. As a project manager, when you start your project, the first thing you do is to identify your stakeholders. As you identify your stakeholders, you come up with a register to analyze your stakeholders and then to prioritize them, the key stakeholders and the other stakeholders. And then you approach these stakeholders to collect what we call requirements. What are the elements or the attributes or the characteristics that the project must deliver for them to say the project is successful? Those are what we call requirements. If I said prepare, let's say the scope is prepare jollof rice for me, then you would ask me for the requirements of the jollof rice. I don't want the rice grains to be overly soft. I want to feel some pepper in the jollof. These 2 variables that I stated now are what we refer to as requirements. So build a 3 bedrooms for me. What do you want in the bedroom? I want a walk-in wardrobe. I want each of the rooms to have bathroom. I want the size of the kitchen to be as big as one of the rooms. I want a store. So all these things that I'm saying that the 3 bedrooms must have are the requirements. Now, quality in project management is for the project to be able to deliver what we would use as a form of measurement to determine that the requirements have been satisfied. That is quality. PMI's emphasis is on quality is meeting stakeholder expectations and project requirements, not luxury or perfection. Sometimes some people would ask that, What about giving extra? PMI does not subscribe to extra. Extra is referred to as gold plating. Gold plating. What you are supposed to do as a project manager is to ensure that the scope is well defined. The scope is defined through requirements, through what the stakeholders tell you they want in the project. And who are your stakeholders? They could be individuals, they could be a group of people, they could be organization, they could be community. You will identify them with your project team. These are the people that the project would have impact on positively or negatively. They may want the project or they don't want the project. So you identify these people, and then as much as possible, you collect requirements from them. In identifying them, you'll be able to come up with what we call the communication management plan to know how you'll be relating with them. Now, what are the main processes when it comes to quality management? There are 3 processes. 1, plan quality management. 2, manage quality. And then 3, control quality. In all the knowledge areas, be it schedule, be it risk, be it resources, be it, what again? Yes, scope. You would have to plan it. It will start with, if it is scope, we would have said plan scope management. If it was risk, we would have said plan risk management. So the first thing you do is to plan. When you plan, you set up standard on how this particular thing would be handled. Okay, so we have plan quality management, we have scope quality management, and then we have we have plan quality management, we have manage quality, and we have control quality. So if you are writing the PMP exam, you should know these 3 processes and in the sequence or in the order they appear. Now let's talk about the first process, plan quality. What is it? It's defined as a process where you would define quality standards for the project and how to achieve them. For every project you manage, there are standards that the project should meet. Sometimes they are in tiers. So you can have one for the industry, you have one for the organization, you have one for the project. The one you have for the project is usually in line or in order with the organization. The one you have for the organization is usually in line, in order with that of the industry or the sector. But what some organizations do is they give extra quality so that they can maybe carve out a niche. All right. And so this is where you will define what the quality standard will be and how you are going to achieve them. So let me use the jollof rice that I used as example not too long ago. Once the customer says, this is how I want my rice, when you are buying your pepper or you are taking the quantity for the rice, you have it at the back of your mind that this food must be a bit peppery. Because the customer has said, I don't want the grain of rice to be overly soft, you will be intentional about the amount of water you are going to pour in the rice. So this is where you determine the quality of the project. Now, we have what we call project scope and product scope. You cannot deliver the product scope if you do not factor it in the project scope, because what you are going to deliver to be able to have what the customer wants is dependent on the process of production. And the process of production is the project. What is produced is the product. So you need to know the end for you to be able to determine how to deliver it. And that is what we do when we are managing predictive projects. Okay, so you define how quality standard, what the standard will be and how to achieve them. What are the tools that you need for this process? You need cost of quality. Let me run through what we call cost of quality. The money you spend to ensure there is quality, and they are in different folds. The first one is the money you spend when you build quality into the process. It means you have not even started production, but you are training your staff. You are ensuring that you have the right equipment or machines. You are ensuring that your team members have the environment to work in. So you get them good chairs, you get them good tables, get them good laptops, because you are thinking of the quality at the end of the delivery. What you have done is building quality into the process. So you spend money before you start production. The second one is when you spend money to randomly select so that you can inspect what has been done. So you have cooked, or maybe you have produced shoes, and then you have testers. They will just randomly pick, and whatever they pick, they test. When they test, the outcome of the test will inform them whether generally the production is good or the production is not good. And so this is also part of the cost of quality, because you spend money in conducting this inspection. The third one is, after you conduct the inspection, maybe some things are not perfect as they should. The degree of the disagreements in the required quality will determine whether what you have tested, you are going to rework. Rework means maybe you can control certain portion of what you have done. If the error is not too much, then you can rework. If the error is so much, you have to discard it, and we call it scrap. Then you have to, if there is warranty, you have to replace. It could lead to legal issues. All what I've described now is what is termed cost of quality. Your responsibility or your goal as a project manager is you want to spend money for the cost of quality that build quality into the process, so that you don't go through rework, scrap, legal issue, and all that. Benchmarking is another tool where you see a desired result and you benchmark, you work towards achieving that which you have seen that you desire to replicate. Brainstorming tool is when you sit with your team and you say, okay, for this product that we are delivering, what would you consider as the best quality for the product or for the service or for the value that we are delivering? You and your team will brainstorm, come up with ideas, you write the ideas down, and then subsequently you analyze each of the ideas to accept or to reject. And once you have accepted, and once you want to accept, they become the standard that the project would have to deliver. Then you have flow charts that will just show the flow of the value you want. So that is what we do when we plan quality, which is the first process in quality management. The second process is manage quality. And what does that mean? Please bear in mind that previously, manage quality was referred to as quality assurance. This can be a possible question for you. So quality assurance is the old name, and the current name now is manage quality. And what do? You say manage. It means you are ensuring that processes are allowed and effective. The process you set up during the planned quality, you are managing it to ensure that if, let's say we say before you do something, you have to hit this nail 3 times. Managing is ensuring that every team member hits the nail 3 times before they go to the next step, because that's the only time you can achieve the quality you have spelled out under planned quality. And this includes quality audits. Doing audits is where you are verifying compliance, that what we said we will do is what people are doing. That is what you do under manage quality. Now, the third process is control quality. This is where you are inspecting deliverables to ensure they meet requirements. It is always better that you do this yourself and you are sure and guarantee that what you have delivered is what you plan and it matches what the customer said they wanted. And the tools you use for doing this are: 1, inspection; 2, checklist. Checklist simply means you have listed what you agreed here in the plan quality, you have listed them out, and someone is checking. Okay, you feel the grain of rice. Oh, it's not soft. It is in the actual texture Jumoke says she wants. You take pepper, you taste. Okay, yeah, it's okay. You take. That is what you do when you have checklist. So it means you have to build the checklist. When I say you here, it doesn't mean you only. You do it with your team. All right, and you have a checklist that every team member is aware of. And then you can also use statistical sampling, where you do random selection to be able to inspect. So how do you the processes that goes on with these tools are audits, inspections, and continuous improvement. I say continuous improvement is that you are improving continuously. You don't settle. So when we say audit, this is where you are ensuring the team is using the right approach. So you pick this, you check, all right? And it is process focused, because you are checking process. From A, you move to B, then you go to D. So you are auditing that those steps are adhered to. For instance, when you apply to write PMP, if you want to write PMP, you have to apply for it. So you apply to PMI, you will tell them whether you have at least a degree, and whether if you have a degree, then you have to prove that you have 3 years project management work experience, meaning you have worked in project management sphere. If you do not have a degree and you have HND, they expect that you have 5 years project management work experience. When you submit your application, PMI will randomly pick people. When I submitted my application in 2011, I was randomly picked. I didn't understand. I was very apprehensive. I thought it means I've done something wrong. And what did they ask? They asked me for the proof of me having at least a degree. So I had to send a scanned copy of my first degree to them. They also asked for someone that is my superior to confirm the project that I said I have worked on. So the email of that superior will be given. And in fact, those days, you print your project management work experience out and you give it to the person endorses, you seal and post. But now they take email addresses and then you give, if maybe 1 or 2, and then they would get in touch with that person, and the person will affirm, oh yes, Jumoke did work on this project. Oh no, Jumoke did not work on the project. If Jumoke didn't work on the project, then it will go against me. But if Jumoke did work on the project, what happened now is audit, because they want to ensure that I have not lied, that I have a degree. Okay. So audit is process focused, that the process you set out to achieve the quality standard in your plan quality management is adhered to. 2, inspection. Inspection is focused on deliverables, that this is the deliverable. This is the jollof rice. The color looks like what she wants. Taste. The taste looks like what she wants. The texture feels like what she wants. That is inspecting. So you cannot inspect without really having the deliverables, okay? Audit, you don't need the deliverable. It's about the process. Inspection, it's about the deliverables. You need to pay attention to some of these things so that when you are reading your question, you are attentive, you can pick these things and be able to pick the right answer. So it is product focused. Audit is process focused. Inspection is product focused. And continuous improvement. Kaizen says change is good and do it in small portion. You have the PDCA that says plan, do what you plan, then check what you have done, If it is in line or it has delivered what you plan to do to achieve, then you can act by doing it bigger. If when you checked, it did not meet your desired end result, you go back to plan again, and then you do what you plan, then you check what you have done, and then you take action. That is what PDCA means. And then Six Sigma principle has to do with you removing or eliminating waste whilst you are ensuring quality delivery. So these are some of the tools or techniques that you can use for continuous improvement when it comes to quality management in projects. An example is a software audit checks compliance with coding standards. When you are checking compliance with coding standards, that's a process. You are checking the process. While inspection tests the code functionality. The code functionality is what the customer is expecting from at the end of the work. Okay, so the functionality is a product or service or value or feature that the project team has delivered. This is just for you to appreciate what we mean by process and what we mean by inspection. I sincerely hope that it's clear with the example. Now, when we say quality and grade, because I see people use the two words interchangeably, but they are not the same. So you can't use them interchangeably. Quality means degree of conformance to requirements. You see, that moment that you say you want chicken, I don't know why I'm using food, because I like food. You say you want chicken. You are eating chicken, but you are saying this chicken is not well seasoned. It's chicken quite all right, but it doesn't conform to your requirement of well seasoned chicken. You see, so it's chicken, but it does not, is the level of conformance to seasoning is not what you want. If you are eating the chicken and you were happy with it, the seasoning is good, even the bone, you cracked it, and the marrow, you can tell that, oh, this chicken was well marinated, then you will say that you have eaten a quality chicken. Okay. Now, grade has to do with ranking. If you bought, what is it? If you bought perfume, 50 cedis, or let me use dollars because I have people that are not in Ghana on the line. Let's say you bought a perfume, $5. You bought another one, $50. You bought another one, $100. Bought another one, 300 USD. The quality of the $5 can be perfect. It will satisfy the requirements that facilitated its production. But the grade, as in how long it will stay on you, will not be the same as the 300 USD. So the grade, they are all perfumes. They are all meeting the requirement. They conform to the requirements of production, but they are different grades. Even how it feels when you inhale them will be different. You know, good perfume, you will not feel like sneezing and all that. So that is great. But the $5 perfume, it doesn't mean it's not of quality, because there were requirements that were given for that perfume to be delivered. You see, so quality refers to conformance to requirements, while grade is looking at ranking that is assigned to deliverables based on their features. Now, I know that we can all relate with this example. A low-grade phone, that's phone with few features, like our YAM, can still be high-quality phone. May not be giving you, those of us that have YAM as our Momo phone, it falls, it does, you call, you see here, the ping, 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 it's even very loud. So it's a low-grade phone because you can't use it to take pictures. It doesn't have the feature of smartphone, for instance. Okay, so it's a low grade. It has fewer features, But if the requirements specified for that phone were those few features, then it's good. It's not giving problem, no defect. Then we will say the phone is low grade, but with high quality. You can have a high grade phone with many features, but may have poor quality. Do you know how sometimes, in fact, the reason why we have a phone plus 16, 15, I've not mentioned any phone, but is because the newer brand is answering or solving some of the identified problem of the previous release. So if you bought a phone, it has many features. You can take picture, you can record videos. It's a smartphone, you can go on internet and all that, but the battery is poor. When you charge in 2 hours, it depletes. So it's a high-grade phone, but it's giving you problem, malfunctions, or it freezes, or it goes off. So it has poor quality, but it's a high grade. Meanwhile, you have your YAM that is low grade, but it's high quality. You charge it 3 days, even if you don't charge, the battery is still on. This example is to help you appreciate quality and grade. And they do test this in the PMP exam. High quality is always required, whether low grade, high grade. High quality of a product or service is always required. High grade is not always required, as in having many features, because if you have high quality, low grade, and it's serving a purpose, it's better than you having high grade and poor quality, not serving purpose. So if you have to make a choice, or you have to do a trading, or you have to do opportunity cost, you will pick high quality over high grade. So now let's look at quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance is process-oriented. It means this is what you do before your deliverable is delivered, before what is it? Yes, deliverable is produced, okay? So you are looking at the process. You are looking at this thing has to be dried. It's like when you are using, what is it, power glue, or what is it? That glue that when you leave for more than a few seconds, it dries. Super glue. The process is when you apply, just let a few seconds pass, and then you bring whatever you are trying to stick together. If you allowed a minute, 2 minutes to pass, then it will no longer be useful. So what I just said now is a process. Apply super glue, wait for 2 seconds, bring the two ends together, hold firmly for a minute, and then it's dry. That is the process. And that is what quality assurance is looking out for. That people are following the process, and you have to be proactive, because sometimes things would happen in the course of your project that you didn't plan for. One of the advantages that adaptive team have over predictive team is their turnaround time. They have to move quickly, because adaptive approach is change driven. So if you are the type that you have to wait 10 days or 2 weeks before you respond, it's like you have side hustle, which many of us do. We have our business beside what we do, the 8 to 5 job. And then there's an issue, someone comes to you and says, give me 2 weeks. Then you go to someone else, the person says, give me 3 days. Who are you going to go to? You will go to the person that says 3 days, because then the person's turnaround is faster. You'll be able to have solution faster, and that is customer service. I think one of these days I'm going to have a presentation on customer service for us. So proactiveness is key. Auditing, checking whether the process is being adhered to is also key. And this is how you manage quality. It's actually done under managing quality. Quality assurance is done under managed quality. If you came across question, you should know that if you are conducting quality assurance, it means you are in a managed quality process. And then you have the quality control. How are you controlling the quality that you have agreed to for your end products to deliver? I said controlling quality has to do with deliverable. It means you have produced something, and that thing that you have produced, you are checking that it meets the quality standards or requirements that you agreed to during the planned quality phase or process. So it involves inspection. Inspection, maybe inhaling, touching, tasting, however you define how the inspection, the quality control will be done. And it is reactive. Reactive because you have already carried out the job. You've carried out the steps. So you have end products. And so it is the end product that you are now checking whether it conforms. That is why it's reactive. But quality assurance is proactive because it is before you deliver the end product. So you can quickly adjust things if people are not, your team members are not adhering to the process. So what are you supposed to note on this slide if you're writing PMP exam or you are managing projects? One, quality assurance is done under managed quality, and it is process-oriented. It is proactive because you have not finished or you have not completed the output of your work, so you can make corrections. But for quality control, it is under control quality, and it is done on deliverable. You have already finished the production. Can you imagine, or just think of it, if the jollof was delivered and I'm now checking, I'm now checking quality. If maybe it's too salty, or there's no pepper, or it's overly soft, it becomes crap. It becomes, I will reject it, and they have to go and reproduce a new one for me. And what that does is it wastes time, or it adds more time to the project's duration. It makes you spend more. It adds to the budget. It also frustrates your team members because it's like, we did this, we did that, it will frustrate them because the time you're supposed to be using to do the next assignment or next task, you are using it to correct or redo the same thing you worked on previously. So scatter diagram, we use it to be able to present, to compare variables. And it's like a graph. You plot it, you have the y-axis and the x-axis. And the x-axis, I hope you still remember your graph. The x-axis shows independent variable, like course. For instance, if students are failing, and then management, the school authority says, students are failing, let's have extra classes. And so you had 1 hour extra class for 1 week. When you conducted tests, they did well. You realize that there is improvement. Okay, you now increase the number of hours of extra classes to 2. You realize that as you are increasing the number of hours for the extra classes, the performance is also increasing. That's a possible outcome. You can be increasing the number of hours for the extra classes and nothing is happening to performance. That's a possible outcome. Or as you are increasing, performance is rather declining. That's also another outcome. All right. So you plot your graph X, Y. On the y-axis, you have effect, and on the x-axis, you have course. And why do you need scatter diagram? Is to help test hypothesis about cause and effect. If I do this, what will happen? What is the effect? And also to detect correlations, like the example I give now. And then thirdly, to identify whether a process variable influences quality outcomes, whether the number of hours of extra classes would have impact on the quality of the outcome of tests. This is supposed to be the outcomes. 1, positive correlation. As you increase the number of hours for training, the performance increases. So increase. That's positive correlation between the variables. So you should also know this, that there are 3 possible outcomes: positive correlation, negative correlation, or no correlation at all. Positive correlation means as you are increasing the cost, the effect is also increasing. Negative correlation means as you are increasing the cost, the effect is decreasing. You are increasing the number of hours for training, for extra classes, but performance is declining. So you may want to think that maybe it's not about training. What is happening? Are people having issues, or the mode of training, or the environment? And now no correlation means whatever you do, the effect is independent of the course. It's like the extra hour of training you are giving the students is not having any impact. It's the same performance. If they were scoring 40% averagely, they're still scoring 40% averagely. That is what we mean by no correlation. Points are scattered randomly. And the example I gave here is number of meetings per week has no effect on defect rate. So I mentioned scatter diagram. I decided to throw in a picture here. This is positive correlation. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. See, if I trace up to this point, it means x has increased from 0 to this point. If I trace from 0 to the vertical axis, it means y has increased from 0 to this point. If you drew a line to touch the point and down, you realize that as x is increasing, y is increasing. At this point, you draw to this point, you draw down, x is also increasing. When you look at the negative correlation, see, x has increased. If you drew a line to the point, this is the point, and you come to the y, you see x is large, but look at y, is small. If you look at y, this is the highest point of y. If you drew the line to x-axis, from 0 to this point is small, so it's negative. If you look at this one, no correlation at all. You can't tell the pattern that when y increases, x increases, or when x increases, y increases or decreases, as it were. So this is how scatter diagram looks like, and you should understand. So so this is how it works. So you pick items and you check their quality based on what they've inputted, and then you input what is it called? Product 1, product 2, for you to be able to have these multiple points. Please note, a scatter diagram is part of the control quality process and falls under the 7 basic quality tools. So we have 7 basic quality tools, and I decided to just put them here. I'm not going to explain them, just for you to know the 7 basic quality tools that we have. We have cause and effect diagram, Ishikawa. You will always come across a question on Ishikawa in your exam. It's like, it's also called fish bone, because it's like fish. The head is the problem, and the bone shows what's the cause of the problem. Excuse me. The head of the fish is the problem. And then you have the bones that is telling you that these are the problems. So you have cause and effect, So Ishikawa is the same tool that is known as cause and effect diagram, and is the same that is known as fishbone tool. All right. So Ishikawa, that's it. And then you have the check sheet, you have the control chart, you have histogram, you have Pareto diagram. Pareto diagram is also depicted in histogram. You should know Pareto diagram is the 80-20 rule, where if you identify all the problems, you realize that about 20% of the problem, when solved, will address 80% of the needs of your people. If you're also working in a team, if you identify 20% of the people, they will help you achieve your 80% goal. So all you need to do as a leader is to be able to identify the 20% of your team members that will help you achieve the 80%. The remaining 80% of your team members will help you achieve the remaining 20%. So you want to spend your time more on those that will help you achieve the greatest portion of the work that needs to be done. So this slide is quite loaded. If you are interested, you can also let me know and scan, send your email, and I will send the presentation slides to you. So in conclusion, quality is essential. Otherwise, you finish your project and it will look like you have delivered, but it will not meet the quality requirements of your stakeholders. So what you are supposed to be doing as a project manager is at the beginning of the project, when you are planning, you also plan quality. Plan will lead to standard that the quality of your product or end product must meet. Whatever you plan, you need to manage it. And that is where auditing comes in. And after you finish the production, you need to check so that you are controlling quality before it's delivered to your customer. And that is where inspections comes in. So audit is done when you are managing quality. Inspections are done when you are controlling quality. So this is where I encourage you that if you are preparing for PMP, you can do it. Don't be discouraged. Don't feel threatened. I agree that it's a lot of information, but people are passing it and they have one head. And so just keep making time and preparing for the exam, and I will rejoice with you very, very soon. If you want PDU stands for Professional Development Unit. It is for those who already have PMI certifications. It could be PMP, it could be ACP, it could be PBA, it could be PMO, it could be CP, it could be PGMP, whatever. As long as it is one of the PMI certifications and you want PDUs, please scan this and send me your first name, your last name, and your PMI ID, not your PMP ID, your PMI ID. So let's quickly now answer some of the questions, or 5 questions that I have for you. What I do, I will display the questions and give you about 5 to 10 seconds to drop your answers, and then I will reveal the answer and discuss it. So during a project audit, the team discovers that the quality management plan references outdated industry standards. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to take? A, update. A moment, please. Update the quality control measurements to reflect current standards. B, revise the quality management plan and initiate a change request. C, escalate to the quality assurance department for corrective action. D, suspend the quality audit until standards are updated. So please, those that are on Zoom, drop your answers in the chat box, and those that are on TikTok, please do drop your answer and let's see. There are no right or wrong answers, so feel free. So I'll count up to 5. Oh, hello, those on the Zoom, what's up? I'll count up to 5 and then we'll move to the next question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me see the bold ones. So let me clap for, I say Sheon got it right. So let me clap for Sheon. Revise the quality management plan and initiate a change request. Quality management plan changes require a formal change request. If you are managing predictive projects, any change has to go through the change control board. You as a project manager, we come up with analysis of the change, and it's already said that what you have is outdated. So you have to initiate so that the change control board can approve, and then you can revise it. If you look at A, update the quality control measurement to reflect current standard. You have not reviewed, you have not assessed, you have not, who has approved it for you to update? C, escalate to the quality assurance department for corrective action. Before you escalate, you need to understand, you need to investigate and analyze what the impact of the challenge is. Okay. D, suspend the quality audit unit standards. Suspend the quality audit anti-standards are, no, you can't do that as well. So B is the correct answer. Second question, a project team is debating whether to focus resources on additional quality inspections or on improving their development process to reduce defects. Which action best reflects the principle of prevention over inspection? A, increase the sample size for inspections to capture more defects. B, allocate resources to create detailed inspection checklists. C, perform root cause analysis after each defect is found. D, improve process compliance through audits and training. Yeah. TikTok for more. Are you there? Julius, you were right. But this is the second question. Can you attempt it? Yeah, Julius is on fire. Let me check my Zoom, folks. I see D. Let me clap for the D. Prevention is actually process-based because you are ensuring that the processes are in order to be able to deliver the desired quality. Okay. So your project is debating to focus resources on additional quality inspection. When you are inspecting, you already have deliverables in your hands, or improving their development process to reduce defects. Yeah. So this is the answer. Prevention means fixing the process, not finding defects. 3, which process directly results in quality audits as a tool and technique? Plan quality management, control quality, manage quality, validate scope. Yes. Quality audit is where CB, BC, C is manage quality. Manage quality is process-based. Retail audit. Quality audit is where you are checking, are they hitting the nail 3 times as indicated? You know, control quality is inspection. Quality audit is manage quality. Quality audits are part of managed quality, formerly quality assurance. And the fourth question, a project manager observes a strong negative correlation on a scatter diagram between team overtime hours and product reliability. What conclusion should be drawn? Drawn, please not be draws. A, more overtime reduces reliability. B, more overtime improves reliability. C, reliability is not affected by overtime. D, the variables have no significant relationship. So what is the answer? Remember, I showed you the scatter diagram. And I spoke about positive correlation, negative correlation, and no correlation. Let's see how many people will get it right. TikTok, do you have any an attempt? This clap is for Julius. A negative correlation means as one increases, the other decreases. And that is what is happening here. You observe strong negative correlation on the scatter diagram between team overtime hours and product reliability. All right, the last question for today, I reduced it from 10 to 5. A project is delivering a low-grade product with high quality, but stakeholders are dissatisfied. What should a project manager do first? A, revise the scope to increase product features. B, initiate a corrective action to improve the grade. C, perform an inspection to confirm the product meets requirements. D, conduct a stakeholder engagement reassessment. Everybody should try and answer. Everybody should answer. ADDA. An answer just came. So this clap is for those who chose D. A project is delivering a low-grade product with high quality, but stakeholders are dissatisfied. What should a project manager do first? Remember, I said if you have to choose between high grade and if you have to choose between quality and grade, you go for quality. And this product is low grade, but it's delivering high quality, but stakeholders are dissatisfied. So you need to hear from the stakeholder what they want. You cannot just revise the scope to increase product features to what? You don't have that information. Increase a corrective action to improve the grade. If you want to improve on the grade, you have to know the features the stakeholders want added. Perform an inspection to confirm the product meets requirements. For you to be saying delivering a low grade with high quality, you have inspected that it has delivered this. But maybe in the course of the project, stakeholders change their mind. That's why you meet with the stakeholder and reassess what they want. The issue is expectation against grade mismatch, not quality. Stakeholder engagement analysis clarifies needs. A and B, revise the scope and initiate, jumped into scope grade changes prematurely. You see, revising the scope is not wrong. Initiating a corrective action is not wrong, but you need to do something before you take that step, and that is you conducting a stakeholder. And C is unnecessary if quality is already confirmed, because the quality is high. So why do you want to perform an inspection to confirm? No. So that's the end of today's session, and I want to use this opportunity to let you know that we are scheduling a virtual PMP training that is starting on 18th October 2022. We are starting a risk management professional training on Sunday, 28th September 2025. And with this, you can become a risk management professional in 2025. With this, if you know anyone interested in PMP, if they went through this training, they can become PMP certified this year. And please connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I am there as Jumoke Lafenwa, as my name. And my company that I'm a managing partner of is also there as OK Valley Limited. On TikTok, if you're on TikTok, I'm there as at Jumoke Lafenwa Coach Project Management. And this is the time for you to scan. Please send your PMI ID today, Monday, 22nd September 2025, if you want PDUs. I beg you. And I also have a channel. So, like today, somebody wanted to join the live. I can put the Zoom link on social media. Zoom will frown at it and change the link because they are protecting themselves, you know. So I couldn't send it to the person because we are not following each other on LinkedIn. So that lady missed today's